I'm Jess McCann, and this is my first Facebook Live video. So if you're watching, please say hi. I felt like I really needed to keep up with the times. And I'll be honest, I'm nervous because I usually talk to people all day long. I'm having a dialogue, so talking to myself is a little strange. But I'm going to give it a shot here. And for my first video, I am going to talk about something that I see a lot of these days, something that is, I think, pretty concerning and something that needs to be addressed with girls and women that are single and dating and in a relationship. Oh, hi, Megan, Catherine. Thank you for watching. So before I talk about what I'm going to discuss today, I just want to take a few minutes, or a few seconds, I should say. This is something I learned from my friend Jen Mapp, who is very good at promoting. Just going to remind everybody that I'm also an author of the books You Lost Him at Hello, which was my first one. Sold now 30,000 copies, so it's not doing too bad, and it's full of great strategies if you're out there in the dating world. And then my second born, which never really got the love that the first one got. I don't know how many copies we've sold, but it's not nearly as many. Was It Something I Said? And I feel like this book is super timely because it's full of Q&A, all about sticky situations that people encounter today in the dating world. Hi, Shayna. Oh, I haven't talked to you in a while. Hi, Megan. Yeah, if you're out there dating and you run into awkward situations, this is the book for you because it talks about how to respond to texts, how to respond to Tinder messages, and just awkward situations like how do I bring up, I'm not going to sleep with him until we're in a relationship. So if you're out there, this is a great book full of tactics, and again, it's Q&A. And you can find both of them on Amazon or in your bookstore. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, so the thing that I was going to talk about was what I'm seeing a lot of in the dating scheme with women, and that is fear. And I'm not talking about the fear of safety. You know, they're not necessarily afraid to go out with somebody and something bad happened to them physically. What I'm seeing a lot of is the fear of losing someone's interest and the fear of being alone forever. And that is driving women to make bad choices when it comes to relationships. So whether they're dating or they're in a relationship, the two biggest things that I see is the fear to express themselves and how they're really feeling in the situation that they're in, or the fear of asking questions, which honestly is, for the most part, the only way to really get to know someone in the beginning. Yeah, you can observe them, but it's going to take a while. And if you're sitting there on a one-on-one basis, having dinner or having a drink, I mean, the conversation is all you really have. So you have to be able to ask questions. But let's start with that. The fear of asking questions. So where is that coming from? Well, most girls tell me when I say to them, do you know anything after a date? Sorry, I should back up. After a date, I usually ask the question, so what do you know about the guy now? Do you know what his last relationship was like? Do you know why they broke up? Do you know what his family dynamic is? Do you know anything about his friends? And the answer is usually no, I don't know much. And especially when talking about the former relationships, girls tell me, women tell me that they don't want to ask that question because they're afraid it's too personal. And the fear is that if they ask the question, the guy is going to have some bad reaction like, whoa, why are you asking me this? Maybe he feels like they shouldn't be talking about it that soon, that it's that they don't know the girl. But I've never had any person come back and tell me, and I've also dated before I was married, and I've asked these questions. No guy has ever come back and said, I'm not going to answer that question. In fact, most people that are on a date, most guys that are on a date, they want to get to know the woman. and they're more forthcoming in the beginning. And you have to ask those questions because, again, it's the only way you're going to know someone. The fear usually is that the girl isn't going to like the answer. So she might ask the question, tell me about your last relationship, and the guy might say something like, oh, I cheated on her, yada, yada, yada. And then the girl will know that she has to deal with that situation and deciding if she wants to see him again based on the fact that she knows he cheated. But not knowing that that's the reason is not a good reason not to ask the question. So I always encourage that those questions have to be asked, because you have to know the answer, and you will find out eventually, and it's always best to know before you get too involved. Now, the second fear that I talked about was the the fear of expressing yourself, which is something that I talk about with my clients almost regularly. Someone tells me that they're disappointed in the guy that they're dating, and oh, hey, Casey. They're disappointed in the guy that they're dating, but they don't want to express it. So, for instance, I just had this happen to 2 clients last week. So one client is dating a guy. It's been about 4 weeks. And she feels the need to just be really positive and happy no matter what. And she should be positive and happy because it's only 4 weeks in. They shouldn't be having any like heavy conflict or serious conversations. But over the weekend, after they saw each other, he said to her, I'll see you on Wednesday. And she said, great. So then Tuesday rolled around and he had a friend fly into town, and he texted her while they were out and said, oh my gosh, we're having a great time. And honestly, I'm probably going to be a little hungover and I have a big day tomorrow at work. So is it, I might not see you tomorrow night. And she was very upset. And she, of course, called me immediately and wanted to have a session. And I said to her, well, you're upset. So I think what you should do is tell him that you're upset. You don't have to be really upset. You don't have to convey that this is, catastrophic or anything, but you can text back something like, I'm disappointed. And she was very afraid to write the words, I'm disappointed. And we had to kind of walk through that. What would be the repercussions of saying that she was disappointed? She didn't think she was going to gain anything by it. By telling him that, she thought he would see her as needy, demanding. I saw it a different way. I said, this is a way to grow your relationship and to also really be in touch with, how you're feeling and let him know. So we went back and forth about discussing this. And finally, she said she was going to trust me. And she wrote, I'm disappointed. And she went to bed and turned off her phone. And the next morning she woke up and he wrote back, oh, don't be disappointed. I do want to see you tonight. I feel okay. Work's not going to be bad. I didn't mean to make you feel like I didn't want to see you. And they went out, and actually they've had a great week after that, and they ended up having the exclusivity talk, and now they're, officially together. And hopefully what she learned was that it's okay to express your emotions, but this is just one example. I have so many other women that tell me that they're really afraid to say something as simple as I'm feeling disappointed. And that makes me concerned for 2 reasons. Number one, eventually all that pent up emotion is going to come out, and usually it comes out in a huge explosion, and then it's really a bigger deal than it needed to be, rather than just discuss it early on. And the other thing is that you're not really showing the person that you're dating the accurate version of who you are. You're repressing emotion, you're repressing your true feelings. They're getting to know you, but they're really not. They're getting to know some sort of alternate version of what you want to show them. And that's not really fair either, because once you commit or once you're married, the true you will come out. And then you have to go through the whole thing all over again. And it's harder to make adjustments then. And it's, obviously harder to walk away. Easier to walk away in the beginning if you realize you're not a good fit. But when there's a marriage and children, it's a lot more difficult. So anyway, that's all I have to say for today on the subject of fear. Hi, Barb. So thanks again for watching my first FaceTime video. I hope to have more. This is sort of like a practice video. And I'm sorry. Hey, Scott, I'm sorry I didn't get to say hi to everybody. I was very busy trying to remember all of my points, which I'm sure I'll watch this back and kick myself for missing most of them. But anyway, good talking to you guys. Good seeing you. And I will see you next time soon, as soon as I figure out how to finish. Oh, there's a button that says finish.